Jägermeister Cup returns for round 3 between Richmond and South Georgia. Both teams have won a game apiece and are fighting to get back into both playoff races. The Kickers have come back home off of their 4th straight loss, while Tormenta have one regulation win in their last 10. It's the USL Jägermeister Cup on ESPN+. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee, so happy to be with you this evening, and with only 2 match days left in the Jägermeister Cup, the playoff picture is starting to take shape. It's 3 group winners and a wild card based on most goals scored. Greenville, Madison, and Northern Colorado, they're up on the Eastern, Western, and Central groups. And you can see that wild card is currently occupied by Omaha, who have scored the most goals. Their 1-0 win versus Central Valley the other night only helps the Owls going forward. Bruno Rendon has led all players in the Jägermeister Cup Golden Boot race. The Kickers, as we mentioned, they are out of the playoff race as we stand, and part of that had to do with their last Jägermeister Cup match versus Richmond back here at City Stadium. Things got started with 2 goals after the hour mark, with Hayden Anderson getting the first one in to start things off, and then beyond the 80, a little bit of juggle back and forth allowed Pascal Corvino to bury the second, get the win for Greenville, and that was the second of a 4-game losing streak for the Richmond Kickers. However, if Richmond wants to get back into the win column, they'll have to look towards their captain, Neil Vignoles. He makes start number 95 in game number 101 for the Richmond Kickers. He continues to be one of the most pivotal pieces on offense, their leading member in terms of assists. He likes to set up the guys around him and not necessarily take the balls himself. He also did score last week versus Northern Colorado, so he can score when needed, but he prefers to set up the guys around him. Take a look at who Vignoles will send the ball to and not necessarily what he does with it himself. Tormenta, as we mentioned, only have 1 win in regulation. However, they've had some success in the Jägermeister Cup if they can continue to stay into this game. Luis Alvarez started things off in their last Jägermeister Cup match versus Charlotte, and that would start things off for the Independents. However, never say die with South Georgia Tormenta, as a corner kick would bobble around, find its way to Callum Stretch to slot that one in 1-1. And once Tormenta gets the PKs, they have been on fire. They continue to get into the win column if they can tie things up after 90, and part of their success all season has been due to this man, the 27-year-old Argentinian Sebastian Vivas. He is 4th in League One goals with 9, and he continues to be on a heater with 2 goals and an assist in the last 4 matches. Richmond is looking for the first win in their last 4 matchups, while Tormenta want to continue streaking on and looking for their first win in the Jägermeister Cup. Richmond and South Georgia Tormenta at City Stadium. Lineups and kickoff are next.
Asia, your car's small.
It's a little cramped, but it's fine.
Fine? When you became MVP once, was that fine? No, you did it twice.
They built you a statue.
But you're fine with this tiny car when you could just sell it to CarMax?
You're right. It's not fine.
I can't feel my legs.
Never settle, on the lot or on the court. CarMax.
So we've decided to sell the house.
Oh, yeah? Who's your realtor?
Well,
Home for sale! Over here, guys! Over here! Only $10!
Where do I find comps? What is incumbents? How do I escrow?
Here's what I found for Scarecrow.
actually, I've been meaning to ask who you and Paul worked with.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of the many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCROPS brand stands for.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. As we take a look at the starting 11s for Richmond Kickers, these are brought to you by First Tee. 5 changes with Richmond, considering the fact that they're trying to avoid their 5th loss of the season. Garnett and Fitch are joined by Barneson and Franca to start things off. Terzaghi is the lone man up top, and Ryan Shello returns in net. He wants to regain some of his form after losing his last 4 consecutive starts. He does not want to make that number 5 for him or for Richmond. Ian Cameron only makes a pair of changes for this match versus the Richmond Kickers. For round 3, they want to go with Vivas being flanked by Watson and Tunbridge. They also have Tunbridge, who is leading the team in assists. He's going to be tasked with setting up those guys like Watson and Vivas. Hassan is out back along with Kilwine, Dangler, and Stretch. He makes his 5th start in the last 6. Drew Romig remains in net with the injuries to Ford Parker. As we take a look at our center official, Eric Lazama Pavon with Joseph Knopf, William Steffen as our assistant referees, and Josiah Park as our 4th official. We start things off here at City Stadium between the Richmond Kickers and South Georgia Tormenta. Tormenta in the all white, Richmond in the all red. As we start things off in round 3 between the Kickers and Tormenta here at City Stadium. Ryan Lee and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew, thank you so much for joining us here on this Saturday night between two sides who, for lack of a better term, they have been struggling not only on the score sheet, but also they've been missing some guys due to some injuries. As we take a look at the injury report brought to you by Juan Socorros, Chris Cole and Antonio Pineda, they're both out with leg injuries. Becca Howell, he's been out for a little while with a hand injury. And there was also some speculation on whether or not there was going to be a potential return for some of those guys. However, they decided to keep them out, especially with some potential with Antonio Pineda. He was getting a little bit close there, but they decided to put him back in the injury report. Don't want to take any risks with anything. We mentioned some of the injuries with South Georgia Tormenta. The key one arguably being their other goaltender, Ford Parker, being out continuously with a lower body injury. He has not been back since the Chattanooga match where he was subbed out midway through that game. And in the following match versus Central Valley, they didn't have a backup keeper like they do today. Fed up for Sebastian Vivas tries to go, but Ryan Shello holds strong as Vivas wanted to go off the feed from Tunbridge only about a minute 20 in. Richmond Kickers faithful continuing to show their voice as the keys to the game are brought to you by CarMax. And with Richmond, it's really possessed with purpose. They love to be a possession-based team. They want to hold on to the ball as best as they can. However, they have the second fewest goals scored of anyone in USL League One. They have to make those possessions really count. And with Tormenta, get the offensive pressure going early, considering how Tormenta has really been an excellent goal-scoring team. They are the top goal-scoring team when it comes to the regular season, but in the Jägermeister Cup, there is a bit of a drop-off in that production. It's not really the same when you translate it from regular season to Jägermeister Cup. And if they want to make the Final Four for this tournament, does South Georgia, they're going to have to do so by that goal-scoring mark, where they are behind on the Owls of Omaha, and it's only an uphill battle with them from there. But they want to continue advancing upward as the throw-in comes on that far sideline. Callum Stretch hangs onto it from the far side, just lets that one in for Jake Dangler, and him and Preston Kilwine have had to shift a little bit, as typically you'd see Kilwine and Dangler in tandem in the center, but Kilwine's coming out wide with the injury, the high ankle sprain for Aaron Lombardi. He's been out for a little while as well. And with Lombardi and Parker being out, especially with that back five that Ian Cameron loves to provide with the 4 defenders and the keeper, it really makes things hard because when you're shifting so many guys, you're playing more of a center back out wide and having a different goalkeeper than the one that you start off the season with, it can throw off the rhythm of what this team can do defensively. And that's been a big struggle with Tormenta all season because they've gotten so many knocks, especially with their defensive midfielders, their defenders. They've had so many injuries on that front. They've had to shuffle things around so many times. They haven't gotten that continuity that they've wanted on the defensive end. But the good thing is that they have had the offensive production to counteract some of those defensive deficiencies, just not due to ability, but due to manpower. Sent into the area, goes a little bit too short as Fitch was able to clear it. Another chance into the area, easily bounces his way for Shello once more. And Shello is back in net after Pablo Jara was in net in Northern Colorado. Shello has lost his last 4 matches. The last one he played was in that aforementioned Greenville game. We talked about it in the open. It was a 2-0 loss for Richmond over the Triumph. Ren Shello was in net that match after Jara took the last 2. And with Ryan Shello, he has yet to get a win of any kind in 2024. 0 wins across 6 matches, a pair of ties amongst that half a dozen games. And it's not even that Ryan Shello has played poorly. It's just that with Richmond, the way that they've been able to do things, they've struggled to defend. They've also struggled to score goals as they're having to back up right now. Sent in front, wanted now Watson, but couldn't quite get the hit. Quickly poked out a play by Daniel Steedman, so it becomes a throw-in for Richmond. It's an 84-degree day here in Richmond, Virginia. A slight wind, but nothing really too effective, as we can see the Richmond faithful continuing to show their voice, but showing an offensive opportunity. Here's Mason Tunbridge. Tried to slide that one through for Vivas. Rebound, scores! 5.5 minutes in, Niall Watson gets the 1-0 advantage for Tormenta. Watson scored his first professional goal against Richmond in March. He gets another one back in City Stadium, this time off the feed from Tunbridge. A quick clear out from Garnett. Perfectly falls for Vivas off of the volley. And what a gracious bounce. He wanted to slide it for Vivas to Tunbridge. However, the block from Garnett was perfectly laid out for Watson to get the volley through. That's Niall Watson getting his 4th goal of the season, after having a very lengthy and successful career over in the English National League North with Southport FC, where he scored 33 goals in 120 matches with Southport. And he has continued to draw that success into USL League One. However, he got off on a heater. He's cooled down for quite a bit. Got all 3 of his goals in the first 4 matches of the season. That includes a goal in the U.S. Open Cup. He hasn't scored a goal since, but he gets back on the scoreboard for the first time since March. And if there's any hope for Tormenta to get back into this tournament due to goal scoring, some of the guys like Watson are going to have to step up, especially because they've shown the ability to score. They just might be on a little bit of a slump, and it just takes one flick to get back into things. Foul, Dakota Barnathan, he's a little slow to get up on that far side. And the first booking of the match already, and that looked like it was Ajmer Spangler who took some contact. Coach Cameron does not agree with the officiating, as Barnathan just tried to corral that. Spangler did get a touch on the ball, so I can understand Coach Cameron's disagreement. However, it was a very strong, aggressive, dangerous play. Coach Cameron will get a booking as well due to some of the verbiage potentially being exchanged between him and the officiating. And the first time these 2 teams played back in March, things got started off in the 5th minute as well. That time it was Connor Doyle. This time it's Niall Watson getting the party started early. So Ajmer Spangler and Coach Ian Cameron get back-to-back yellow cards, and we're not even 10 minutes in, and that doesn't even include the fact that it's 1-0 Tormenta. Opportunity here for Richmond as they want to continue advancing, and another foul goes against Tormenta. So a couple of tough fouls against South Georgia on the defense, with Richmond trying to respond after that Watson goal. It was Nil Vignoles on that far side. He made a little bit of a stutter step that was Aaron Walker, who was the one making contact there. Aaron Walker comes over, only signed on with the team only a matter of weeks ago, and he made his first start in that rain delay game versus Spokane, and he got the foul there where Vignoles will have to set things up. Vignoles serves in, cleared away by South Georgia, and Tormenta want to make a counterattack go as they bring bodies forward. Watson, he's the one man alone, as that one is going to be an aggressive foul out wide. It was Ajmer Spangler trying to get things done. Wanted to potentially recoup things after taking that early yellow card to generate a chance by himself, and now a booking goes Richmond's way, as it was Spangler and Zaka Moran going at each other on that counter opportunity for Spangler. And what an eventful match, only 10 minutes in. And this is something that we could probably have expected from Richmond and Tormenta, because both coaches acknowledge that the other is a very hard team to play against, how things have gotten very feisty, very chippy. There's a lot of history between these two teams, a lot of crossover between these two teams. Drew Romig was a Richmond Academy player. You've got some of the guys on this Richmond kicker side, including Nil Vignoles, including Adrian Billhart, who's on the bench today. They were all a part of South Georgia Tormenta at one time or another. So there's a lot of, not necessarily bad blood, but a lot of history between these two sides that could potentially spill over. In both of the matches that the Kickers and Tormenta have gone against each other, they've both essentially been one-goal games the entire way through, as Tormenta took that first game all the way back in late March, and then the rematch only about 2 months ago or so. That one was advantage Richmond. Another foul on Tormenta, so it will be a long set piece as Chandler O'Dwyer makes his way back to his feet. As we take a look at Darren Sawatsky in his 128th match with the Richmond Kickers all time. He spans 44, 50, and 33. Sawatsky has really been that leader for Richmond ever since they made the crossover into USL League One. He's been there since the 2020 season, which was the second year of Richmond's existence in this league. But it's Moran and Vignoles well outside the area off of the Tormenta wall. High elevation, and it's just saved off of the end line by Richmond, but it falls right in favor of for Steedman. Goes across for Tunbridge. Al-Sadiq Hassan trying to cross over. Aaron Walker has Steedman find his way around. South Georgia Tormenta, they have been on a streak as of late, but if you look at it just by the regulation numbers, you probably wouldn't think so. But they want to continue streaking up as it's Sebastian Vivas along the corner, working on Fitch. Fitch on Vivas, and that comes out of play for the first corner of the match. First foul. First couple of fouls, only 10 minutes in. A trio of yellow cards in 11 minutes. And a goal about 8 minutes ago. And Daniel Steedman set to feed in the first corner of the match. In-swinger from Steedman, too high for Walker. It comes out the other end. Richmond ball, but it's not a goal kick, it's a throw. Despite the 1-goal deficit for the Kickers, the Red Army continues to roar strong. But a triple team attempt for Tormenta. They've been unable to jar the ball loose, but the Kickers will just dump it away so they can get it out of their own end, where Preston Kilwine will take over. Kilwine in his 50th match in USL League One. He's played every match in League One with South Georgia Tormenta, in large part because he spent the 4 years prior to his entrance to Tormenta last year with the USL Championship. He's a guy that Coach Cameron said is a very likely candidate to make his way up to the championship next year, Kilwine. He's been asked to do so many things for Tormenta, being at the center back primarily, will sometimes play out wide, especially today with Aaron Lombardi being out due to injury. Kilwine's been tasked to be a part of that flanking defender role, even though he typically plays in that center back spot, as he kind of retreats to that area right now with him and Dangler going back and forth. Goes to Callum, stretch out wide. Stretch again. Steedman for Walker, back for Steedman again. Also, D. Kassan, he started 5 of his last 6 matches as Tunbridge makes his way over. Tunbridge wanted to serve potentially for Watson again, but instead it just deflects off of Guy Franca. Terzaghi collides with Ajmer Spangler. The USL Summer Soccer continues on the CBS Sports Network with a Western Conference matchup of the top versus the bottom. High-flying Sacramento Republic FC hosts an El Paso Locomotive FC side looking to climb up the standings. August 14th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS-SN. The continual growth of USL in both the Championship and League One. A couple of expansion sides coming to both leagues next year and in 2026. With the 12-team USL League One, with the additions of the team from Maine and Texoma, amongst a couple of others, this dynamic that has been established with League One will continue to change because of the continual additions of teams. Don't forget Naples in that mix as well. Richmond Kickers, they have not necessarily had the best going in 2024 so far. 3-8-3 in regular season play, 1-3-2 in the Jägermeister Cup. They sit at 10th place in the regular season playoff race. They're on the outside looking in. And part of that does not necessarily help with some of their recent form. 4 losses consecutively. They had back-to-back wins to end June and to start things off in July, but they've only been able to muster up a couple of wins here and there. Nothing really lengthy or consistent, but that wants to be turned around by Landon Johnson, who tries to go through. He draws a foul on Walker once more. That's another foul on Walker. Back in his own defensive area, it once again will provide Richmond with a set piece in the Tormenta end, as Neil Vignold and Zaka Moran communicate once more on who's going to take this Free kick. Looks like it's going to be Moran as Vignoles stands in the cluster. Elevated by Moran, back post as that one just finds its way past the post and out of the byline, but it did last go off a Tormenta player, so now the kickers get their first corner attempt. As Moran just tried to go for that back post, it went off of Jake Dangler. And Vignoles will send this one in. In swinging ball, headed on and over. Vignoles tried to go for the in-swinger as that one just got headed up and over by Griffin Garnett. Griffin Garnett, 17 years old from the Richmond Academy program. He would walk to City Stadium with his family since he was about 4 years old as a Richmond native. And 13 years later, he makes his debut in Spokane for the Richmond Kickers as he started off his pro career. And with Garnett starting 19 of 21 matches, the Richmond Academy project showcased his ability to pass and defend. He signed a multi-year contract extension on Wednesday, saying that the culture around Richmond has been around him his whole life, and it really means a lot to him to be a continual piece with this Kickers club. The 17-year-old Garnett has done so well. He's been rewarded by this kicker side as a feed comes in. Feed back for O'Dwyer. Comes in front. Terzaghi tries to elude one. Terzaghi takes a drive, but he just missed the net as a diving Drew Romig couldn't quite get the touch on. But it's a goal kick for Tormenta regardless. A little bit of scrambling in front of the box with Emiliano Terzaghi just trying to get past a couple of guys. And with no Bill Hart, no Sierakowski, Terzaghi's really going to be the one tasked with generating a lot of the offense for Richmond. And I can't blame Coach Sawatzky's thinking because the three-time MVP has scored double digits 4 consecutive times before being out with a hand injury for large portions of this 2024 season. Handball on Chandler O'Dwyer. Tormenta ball. After only 22 minutes of play, a singular shot on target. That's from Niall Watson. It's the only one to get behind. But it's Chandler O'Dwyer behind the Tormenta defensive line as he tries to make something go. Johnson steps in, takes a shot, and off the outside of the frame. The Red Army thought that one went through. It just tickled the twine from the other end. So Drew Romig will take it away for a goal kick. But some nice thinking here as some of these guys have to step up and make the most of their opportunities. That's been one of the things that's really plagued Richmond the entire year, is because they've had their respective issues with injuries as well. They haven't had the same guys stepping up and making the same plays the way that Tormenta has, but now Watson trying to make something go as he has to turn around, leaves it for Tunbridge. Tunbridge to serve, back post, he wanted Vivas, but Shello was there to cut it off. The other big notable absence for South Georgia Tormenta that we did not mention was their forward, Pedro Fonseca. He was a nominee for the League One Player of the Month of July. As Fonseca did not even make the trip to Richmond, as him and his wife are expecting their first child any day, essentially. So Fonseca is back in Statesboro. Did not make the trip with the rest of the Ibises. And congratulations to Pedro and the rest of the Fonseca family for the upcoming introduction of their first baby girl. The USL Super League is kicking off its inaugural Division I Professional Women's Soccer League in August. 8 teams across the country will begin playing August 17th. As that one comes in front, and Suko ties this game at 1. Justin Suko ties the game. He gets Richmond's first. He gets his first of the season, and we're level at 1. A nice little quick feed. Suko was all by himself. Hassan could only chase as Suko was there to track it the whole time, all by himself at the top of the area. Nice feed there from Emiliano Terzaghi to hit Suko right on the money, and Suko gets the hit up and over Romig and into the back of the net to even this game at 1. First of the season, third as a kicker, and Justin Suko allows the Red Army to roar. As the goals are brought to you by Uptown Alley, Strike Up the Entertainment.
And assisting on the goal is number 32, Emiliano Terzaghi.
So that's Terzaghi's first assist of the season. That's a way to get start number 99 going. But a scramble up in front of the area had to be stopped by Shello. No second chance there for Tormenta. These two teams love to trade opportunities back and forth. We saw that back in March. We saw it again back in May, how every time you see a Kickers versus Tormenta matchup, you're going to expect lots of scoring opportunities from both sides. Served up top the area. Watson leaves it for Tunbridge. Comes out wide for Al-Sadiq Hassan. Hassan back. Steedman tries to elude Fitch, but Fitch gets it out. Some scrapping there will be too much as it freezes the ball. Are you ready for a shot at glory? Enter the USL Jägermeister Cup sweepstakes for a chance to win one of 12 Jägermeister single bottle tap machines and a shot at the grand prize package, which features the Jägermeister single bottle tap machine, 2 team jerseys, 4 VIP tickets to a League One match, and $250 to host a USL Jägermeister Cup party. Enter today by scanning the QR code on the screen. Sweepstakes ends August 13th. Must be 21 and over to enter. Terzaghi. Johnson. Johnson's got Fitch and Terzaghi. Goes back for Terzaghi. Tries to go for Fitch, but Hassan is there. Drops it off for Romig. Both of these two sides are in a very uphill battle if they want to get back into the Final Four for the Jägermeister Cup. Tormenta, they are eliminated from winning the East group, but Richmond are technically still in it mathematically. It's just going to provide a lot of help and a lot of results going their way. But Simon Fitch could potentially have something to say about that as Terzaghi was sliding, trying to get the deflection on. As Tunbridge couldn't get the clear, held on by Nil Vignoles. Vignoles chips it up and out from Kilwine. Union Omaha in that 1-0 win the other day versus Central Valley puts them at 13 goals in the Jägermeister Cup. Tormenta have a long way to go, but they have to defend on this first as it goes back for Johnson. Steedman with the overhead clearance as Vivas settled it down. Vivas across for Ajmer Spangler as he waits for extra numbers to come across. Pitches it out. Callum Stretch gallops up ahead. Stretch looks for a shot, and that one hits the side of the net as well. So a couple of shots on net, a couple of shots off the side of the net. Callum Stretch tried to make that one go, but it's still 1-1. Callum Stretch, has he been doing such a good job? And ever since the departure of Nick Akoto, the big question is who's going to be filling in on those wing backs for Ian Cameron. We've seen some opportunities for Josh Ramos to come in, but Ramos is on the bench today. Hassan gets his chance to come in. But Callum Stretch, it's almost like once he's been able to move up the pitch and get a couple opportunities on offensively, it's really brought a new element to his game. We saw at the Open that he scored that 1-1 equalizer versus the Independents in Charlotte. And he continues to kind of creep up every so often to get involved in the attack. And for somebody like Callum Stretch, only 24 years old, he's going to continue getting those opportunities on because of his ability to cover so much ground. He can defend when he needs to, but he also can be such a danger in the box as he has scored so many goals in that tight area. But he has it once more out wide. Stretch serves, had it on. Watson couldn't quite get it to go, but he did get just a glance on it. So Steedman has to keep that one in play to provide a Richmond possession on the throw. Daniel Steedman goes back and forth with Kilwine, but it makes its way for Steedman again, who just outlets it for Walker, who's just going back and forth with Steedman. Stretch for Spangler. Wanted Walker. Now Watson out wide. He's got a goal, tries to go for a serve. Rebound kept in by Tunbridge. Tries to get past a couple. He did it versus Charlotte back in June, but couldn't get it to go again as the triple team was too much for Tunbridge. Vignals' feed was disrupted by Kilwine. Coach Sawatsky and his side are half a hour in as we take a look at Ian Cameron. He's been noting how these guys have been very much developing as a team, as a unit together, because they haven't necessarily played a lot of time in this league. They're just getting introduced from leagues overseas or maybe from the NCAA ranks. So a lot of these guys are either first-year pros or they're in their first year in USL League One, and that is a tough job to manage, having to not only teach those guys the ways of the league, but also trying to get them to perform in such a new environment, getting that cohesion together. And with Coach Cameron, he tends to kind of hit the stride right at the right moment, as his Tormenta teams have had a tendency to be really strong down the stretch. And with maybe a little under 10 matches to go for South Georgia, that could be what's needed for Ian Cameron and his side to maybe make a surge for a potential threat in the wild card race, or maybe even get back above 8th place in the regular season. With Spokane's win in the middle of the week, they got dropped down to 9th, did the Ibises. Early possession numbers are in the favor of South Georgia Tormenta, about 55%. However, the shots have been in favor of Richmond, 4-2. Only one shot on net apiece, and both of those fell behind Shello and Romig. Vignals wanted Fitch, so Hassan will just instead interrupt. However, he kept that one in play, so Terzaghi comes back for Vignals. Vignals to serve, and an easy snag there by Drew Romig. Select is the official match ball provider of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us-select.sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Niall Watson takes the feed from Dangler, centers for Spangler. But it was all over once Chandler O'Dwyer was in the area. As Terzaghi and Vignoles continue to go back and forth over for Moran. Richmond want to hold on to this ball as long as possible. They love to possess. Essentially, they know that a lot of teams in this league can be so offensively threatening that they pretty much want to not only hold on to maybe boost their opportunities, but a lot of times it also comes down to taking the opportunities away from the other team by them not even having opportunities because of lack of possession. Vivas for Tunbridge, and Hassan, he was having his back turned to the play, so he couldn't receive that pass that was pretty much streaking for Tunbridge, and had Hassan been able to identify the play, he would have been off to the races. Hassan gets free for Walker. Callum stretch. Dan Steedman. Steedman just pitches that one out of play as we are at the 36th minute mark. It took a half a dozen minutes for Niall Watson to get things started for South Georgia, and then Justin Suko equalized in the 24th minute off the assist from Emiliano Terzaghi. Terzaghi with his first assist of the season, and Justin Suko getting his first goal since May of 2023, which was in a match against Tormenta with the Richmond Kickers. We mentioned the continual intertwining of these two, and with Suko getting his last goal against Tormenta, the crossover of players, it's in a way a rivalry that kind of speaks for itself. Watson, Spangler, he's got Tunbridge in center, but he wants to create space himself as Steedman just deflects it for Callum Stretch. Watson into the area, too short for Vivas. So Dangler has to come all the way back. Dangler, he sports the captain's armband in today's match, with Connor Doyle having come off of the bench the last couple of matches. Mason Tunbridge returns for Watson, and a chance goes. Watson hits the outside of the net. Watson wanted the brace in the first half, but goes to the outside of the net instead. Watson just streaks up ahead, hits the outside of the frame. And as we mentioned, for Niall Watson, his first goal in USL League One was against Richmond here at City Stadium. It was a breakaway against Pablo Jara to give Watson his first goal in USL League One. And then he started things off again today. Continuously building up Go Richmond as it's Neil Vignoles. He's got a man out wide, but wants to send it into the area a little bit too high for Landon Johnson on the reception. He's getting harassed by Hassan, but Johnson and Hassan go back and forth where it eventually comes out of play, last off of Landon Johnson. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157, the new Sirius XM app. Centered, Vignoles, bobbles, deflects, back for O'Dwyer. Tried to leave for Suko. O'Dwyer has to spin around with a shot deflected, stopped by Steedman, cleared by the Ibises. Tormenta have only one regulation win in their last 10. However, they've had 3 wins in their past 6. Those 3 wins, 2 of them have come from penalties against Charlotte and against Central Valley. But Richmond tries to make something go. Terzaghi for Vignoles, back for Terzaghi, but out of range for Terzaghi to make the deflection to get it on for Romig. So Romig will take the goal kick, and Richmond faithful will not be happy as Terzaghi just ran into stretch. Terzaghi was credited with an assist on that Suko goal. It's something that you don't really see very much from Emiliano Terzaghi, is being able to set guys up. He's pretty much one of your pure goal scorers, especially when you have a goals to assist ratio of 57 goals to 5 assists. Terzaghi comes down once again and draws the foul, coming Richmond's way with 5 minutes to go in the half. Richmond want to bounce back after losing their last 4, including their last game in the Rockies against Northern Colorado. Vignoles to the area. Bouncer is held on by Romig. Offensive foul on the kickers regardless. You're taking a little look here. Vignoles just served that one into the area. Just some tangle ups between, you got Terzaghi in the mix, you had Suko getting scrappy. A couple other red jerseys up in pretzels. But a deflection comes. Now Watson turns around. He's got Tunbridge. And he's got Vivas as well. He sends it for Vivas. Vivas wanted to return for Tunbridge, but it was sent off by Franca. Dan Steedman. Steedman wants to think, so he lets Hassan do it for him. Walker. Tunbridge has Hassan on the near side. Hassan watched heavily by Chandler O'Dwyer. Tunbridge, he's been able to serve some guys up very well, as Tunbridge and Spangler, who's on it now, leads the team in assists. But it goes back for Tunbridge as he tries to get loose. Disrupted, back for Tormenta. Steedman gets free, takes a shot, and that one is held off by Shallow. Steedman might have gotten some grasps on his way to get that shot, but a nice deflection there from Watson to strip Suko, and then Steedman, he had 3 guys on him, but let that one fly anyways, but Ryan Shallow held on strong. Shallow is, we've mentioned some of the struggles he's had in net, and he wants to continue coming back to some of the form that allowed him to be in the USL Championship for 2 years with Detroit. And it's not like he's unfamiliar with the ways of League One, as he spent his first professional season after his tenure with Cornell with FC Tucson in 2021. Simon Fitch has some speed to him, is getting held up by Hassan, centering for Johnson. Landon Johnson wanted to cross in. Comes off Kilwine for a kicker's corner. Richmond have struggled offensively all year long. They have the second fewest goals in USL League One, only above Knoxville all season amongst all League One competitions. And there's been acknowledgement in the Richmond room that there have been chances and that the kickers are getting the looks that they want. However, being unable to convert has been one of their big Achilles heels, because if you get the shots but don't convert them, It all comes for nothing, but a corner kick for Richmond could potentially break the ice just short of stoppage. Scramble in the area, eventually gets sent off by Spangler. Captained by Landon Johnson. Wants to serve into the area, but Romig is the only one there. Just barely keeps it off of the end line. That's about a minute and a half to the end of the first 45. We do have stoppage as well. Final minute of the regulation 45 in the first half as the sun slowly sets and the lights flicker on. Callum stretch. Attempted return for Spangler was off target by Watson. After today, Richmond only has one more game in the Jägermeister Cup, but they have 8 games remaining in the regular season. They understand that the season is very much fleeting, and because of the integration of the Jägermeister Cup, every mistake is amplified because so much counts towards the respective playoffs. 3 minutes to go of stoppage. Spangler centers, Vivas returns for Spangler, but he got tied up with Fitch. Vignoles to start something. Lets that one fly off the sideline. It's Johnson. Kilwine cuts him off. Al-Sadiq Hassan. Aaron Walker. A nice veteran presence for this Tormenta side, as he was a very recent signing. That veteran leadership is something that Ian Cameron wants because of how little time this team has played just in general in USL League One. Having someone who's been there, done that all around the league is going to make things really easy for Coach Cameron down the road, because when you have that veteran experience mixed in with the number of guys who are first-year pros or in their first year of the league versus a team like Richmond Kickers, who are very much in that same aspect of developing guys from within, not a lot of experience, not a lot of money spent in those free agents per se, you can really make things hard in terms of developing a team and getting that chemistry together, really trying to build something, but they've been able to do so. With Richmond, they've stayed very much in the mix of things every game that they've had. For Tormenta, they lead the league in scoring in the regular season. But it comes up top. Landon Johnson lays it back. Moran around. And Watson stops the attempt for Barnathan. Corner number 3 for the Kickers. Final minute of stoppage time for Neil Vignoles. Far side corner will be an in-swinger. Vignoles to serve. Punched out by Romig. Still available. Johnson to center. Suko with a swing. Tunbridge tries to escape and eventually does. Tunbridge with an escape route has maybe a half a minute left to go. Steedman. Can either of these two sides break off before the first half concludes, or will we still be stuck at 1 once that whistle blows from our head official? Tormenta might just be content with letting things be tied at the half. And they will do exactly that. Let things expire after 45 plus, as we are tied at 1 goal aside. Ryan Cello and Drew Romig have been beaten once apiece in 45 minutes of play. The third round of Richmond versus Tormenta has brought on plenty of action in the first half of play. It took 6 minutes to get this party started, but only 24 for things to be level. 1-1 between Richmond and Tormenta. More from around the USL when we return.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with the provider today.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of the many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCROPS brand stands for.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
We're back here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, where the Kickers and Tormenta are tied up at 1 apiece. Plenty of action in this one, as there was in Week 6 of the Jägermeister Cup.
Down there running in for that one, Ethan Horde. On to Billy King! And Billy King arrives in a blur. It all turns blue. Brushed in, knocked around, and knocked in. Breck Evans, Johnny on the spot.
Fifth corner of the night for the host. The first in-swing delivery, though. Ferrer Garcia lofts it up. Allowed to bounce to the back stick. Siobhan John Brown! It is a thunderbolt! Look at the space afforded to Masango Akale. He's rapid. He's got options. Akale onto his right! Can't bend it inside the post.
Charlotte Independence, meanwhile, they have picked up where they left off from going to the final last year. This misplayed in the back. Here is a chance, and it links through. It is a goal for Charlotte Independence. Luis Alvarez stayed with it. Into the middle. Left foot shanked away, and there's the goal for Tormenta.
Ross pushing pace. Ajay O'Hearn on the near left side. He's going to have a good shot attempt. Up the pipe and in! A miraculous strike from Sean O'Hearn gives One Knox the 1-0 lead late in this one. Hernandez to Marsh. The elusive Siobhan Marsh, left-footed shot, saved by Garibay. Chance, score! Pedro Hernandez in stoppage time. Green, he misses it!
To the final
final two matches. Robles sprinting away. He's got McKinnon with him. Ball across goal. Anderson! Triumph breakthrough! Hayden Anderson. Then Giano. Bukowski is the one to cross. Made it clear. Only as far as Corvino! Oh my goodness! That is an unbelievable strike!
Catapult both of them with the win. Prentice looking to do just that. Prentice. Oh, Prentice! My goodness! The super sub, a scorching strike, and the Minkos jump in front. Get it away, Yankum toes it over to Youth. Knocked over the crossbar by Shipman.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Running every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
It would take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2.
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
It's time to bring a classic back.
News and notes from around the USL as the USL Super League starts things off only a week from today with Carolina Ascent FC, Lexington SC, and Spokane Zephyr. That's going to be an amazing wrinkle to the USL, not only expanding the respective men's leagues with the Championship and League One, but the women's game as well with the Super League getting kicked off to start things off at the end of summer and into the fall and winter, building things for the future as Lexington is nearing the completion of their new stadium with AV Alta FC hosting the groundbreaking next week as well, and multiple clubs can clinch or be eliminated from the Jägermeister Cup this weekend, Richmond and Tormenta amongst those many. As we take a look at the team of the week from round 6 of the Jägermeister Cup, we've mentioned every single week in and week out when it comes to this tournament, there has been plenty of action from around the USL. Siobhan John Brown, he was huge for Central Valley to continuously get things done. And despite some of the struggles that the Fuego may have had, Siobhan John Brown, one of the many bright spots. Eamon Zayed was also the coach of the round of the 6th week of the Jägermeister Cup. As we take a look at some home openings for the USL Super League, we've talked about some of the clubs from this new USL Women's League. Some of the teams, as you can see on the screen, they have relative USL League One affiliates with Spokane, Carolina, and Lexington amongst with the other independent clubs. many of these teams start things off a week from today with Carolina, Spokane, Tampa Bay. They play next Sunday, with some of those other clubs not starting things off at home until well into September. Lots going on in the USL and here in City Stadium. We're tied at 1 after 45 minutes of play as we have highlights, stats, and the start of the second half when we come back.
Is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Welcome to Royal New Kent Golf Club. Designed by world-renowned architect Mike Strantz, Royal New Kent's a one-of-a-kind Irish-style golf course located 20 minutes east of Richmond, Virginia. Royal New Kent was featured in Golf Week's top 100 public courses in the country. Hidden behind grassy knolls and hand-stacked rock walls, each hole offers several playing options to fit a wide range of abilities. Visit royalnewkent.com or follow us on social media for more information on tee times and rates. Remember, come to Royal New Kent Golf Club to Golf Ireland in Virginia.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with the provider today.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. Plenty of action from the first half between Richmond and Tormenta as we get things started off in the 6th minute of play. A turnover, an unfortunate bounce for Richmond, but a fortunate one for South Georgia. Mason Tunbridge tried to feed it for Vivas, and it falls perfectly for Niall Watson to get his 4th goal of the season, his first since all the way back in about late March. He gets things started only about 5.5 minutes in for the 23-year-old from Liverpool, England. However, things would continue to go as some chances would come for Richmond on the other end. Landon Johnson would gallop his way through, but he would clip the outside of the post. That was when things were still at 1-0. Richmond tried to get things level at 1. However, they continued to press over and over again, and eventually things will fall through. Turnover in the midfield allows Terzaghi to find Suko all alone at the semicircle, the top of the 18, just to let that one fall and smash that one home for Suko's first since May of 2023 in a match in Statesboro. And just before the end of the half, an opportunity for the Ibises, and a quick turnover there was caused by Watson. Steedman lets that one rip, but Shello was there the entire way through as Suko could not get that one past Watson. You see Steedman on the follow-up getting jostled at. Doesn't matter. He was able to get the opportunity to go. As we don't just take a look at our highlights, we've also got the stats from the first half of play, and you would look at those numbers and say that things are very much in Richmond's control because of the number of shots, at least in terms of volume, the number of corners getting taken. However, if you really look at this, it's really been a back and forth affair. You see Tormenta chance here or Richmond chance there, and the numbers really reflected as pretty much everything is split along the middle. And as we get started for the second half of play, it's a 1-1 game with Justin Suko and Niall Watson getting the first couple of goals in. And to start things off in the second half, there's going to be some changes being made, as there are 3 subs going to be made. Chandler O'Dwyer, Dakota Barnathan, and Guy Franca will all take a spot, with Maxi Schoenfeld, Nathan Awney, and Ryan Sierakowski amongst the substitutions in. There goes Ryan Sierakowski. He comes in. He turned 26 only 3 days ago. Happy belated birthday for Ryan Sierakowski. He makes an appearance. This is only his 4th appearance for Richmond since the beginning of June. He's been struggling to stay on the pitch consistently since about 2 months ago, but he's been able to make his opportunities come when he's been on the pitch. He started last week versus Northern Colorado, and he makes his way back as a halftime substitution in his 17th game in the season, 35 with the Richmond Kickers in his 2nd year with the club. Nathan Awney, we've talked about him. He's been battling injury for good chunks of the year, has Awney in game number 80 with the Kickers. And Maxi Schoenfeld, first season with the Kickers, makes appearance number 20. Tormenta holds strong as they will start off the second half with possession as we await the opening whistle of the second half of play. Ryan Lee and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew welcomes you back for the second set of 45 here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia.
Substitutions for the Kickers.
Quick turnover already as Vignoles wants to slide it through. An opportunity for Richmond, centering. Sierakowski couldn't quite get it through as Dangler was alert.
Number 11, Ryan Sierakowski. And number 24, Nathan Awney.
Quick opportunity there as Landon Johnson wanted to slip it through for Sierakowski, but a quick poke out off of the foot of Jake Dangler stops things and prevents a potential go-ahead goal for the Kickers. From the corner, the center was disrupted by Hassan, captained by Richmond. And Spangler eventually finds Vivas. Falls right for Sierakowski, but couldn't get it for Suko. And now a transition play will begin for Tormenta, but they'll just hold things up as that's been a thing with Tormenta in this game so far with Richmond. In the last couple of matches that they played against each other, it was very much run and gun. Just get the ball upfield as much as possible, get as many opportunities on net, but in spurts, it almost seems like Tormenta is trying to, in ways, beat Richmond at their own game of possessing the ball, getting the opportunities on a counterattack, on a long build-up. And for Ian Cameron, he wants to continue to let that first domino fall for the remainder of the season, as they are only 1 spot out of the regular season playoff race, and they have the goal-scoring potential to get themselves back into this wild card race. But it's hard because they've only scored the 4th fewest goals in the Jägermeister Cup thus far, with the most goals in the regular season. So that competition to competition flip over does not make things easy for them, as does the man down on the pitch. That appears to be Al Sadiq Hassan, who is down. It is Hassan who is slow. As we take another look, Hassan was just coming down. The slide was made by the substitute, Nathan Awney. And just a little aggressive on that slide was the sub, Awney. But always good to see a player down get back on his own power, as Hassan, the 24-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri, came to the States from Iraq. Played his college ball over at South Illinois Edwardsville, where he was not only a first team of the Ohio Valley Conference, but also allowed his side to not only get a conference championship, but an undefeated regular season for South Illinois Edwardsville. He makes his way back into the pitch as he has to be one of the many to defend against this press from Richmond. Johnson to center. Sierakowski couldn't get it as Hassan gets the foot out to disrupt the play. Corner for Richmond. 4th of the game, 1st of the half. Richmond trying to get back into the win column for the 3rd time in their last 8. They've only done so twice. If they could break through, this would be their 3rd win in 9. Zaka Moran to serve. Moran towards the area. Dangler was there. Terzaghi with a swing and goes high. But take 2 on the corner for Richmond. Again, top of the area, Fitch couldn't get the header clean. Vignoles keeps it alive. Overhead for Terzaghi, stopped by Hassan. Terzaghi tries to go, but it's Romig instead. Since coming up to USL League One, Tormenta has only made the playoffs once. That was back in 2022, where they went all the way to win the entire thing. And those type of runs are something that Tormenta are going to have to do. And with the Richmond Kickers, that same season in 2022, Darren Sawatsky won the Player Shield as the regular season champion. However, things have not necessarily gone Richmond's way since that 2022 season. They were 11th out of 12 teams last year. They're in a similar position. They're 10th of the 12-team table in the regular season this year, and they're hanging on to the Jägermeister Cup lives tonight. If they do not get the win versus Tormenta, Richmond essentially have mathematically no chance at catching the top of the table with Charlotte and Greenville, who are also currently ongoing. And if the 2 teams are eliminated from the Eastern Conference race, the only way for them to potentially get into the semifinal of the Jägermeister Cup, most goals scored. Watson to center. Out off of Griffin. And Tunbridge to take the corner for Tormenta. They've only got their 2nd of the game. But Tunbridge has been so dangerous off of these corners. He leads the team in assists. Many of them have come off of his corner services. As a 2nd-team All-American with the University of San Diego, what can he muster up here? Tunbridge to serve. Overhead kick goes up and over. Nice opportunity there for Tormenta as it couldn't quite go. Tunbridge, he had Dangler all alone, and that is probably one of the more underrated things with Jake Dangler, is he has the ability to get scoring chances in the box off of set pieces. And with a guy like Jake Dangler, who is at 6'5", 180, it's hard to miss him, especially with how crowded the box can be on those set pieces. He's able to just find the open area, poke one home a couple of times, maybe get a header on, as he did right there, attempting the overhead kick. Stretch back for Walker. And he plays all the way back for Drew Romig. The USL Super League is kicking off its inaugural Division I Professional Women's Soccer League in August. 8 teams across the country will play on August 17th, a week from today, airing exclusively on NBC's Peacock. throw-in for Richmond turns into a throw-in Tormenta off of a errant touch. Daniel Steedman wanted to play it in front for Tunbridge, but a little bit of a tie-up outside of the area will halt play. And this ball will actually go way outside of the area. Daniel Steedman to take. We saw something similar up in Fresno where he snuck that one just underneath the crossbar. Could he potentially try something like that again? Steedman's been labeled probably the most improved player on this Tormenta side as he serves. Wanted the back post for a stretch, but a little much. And as that last service goes on for the goal kick, Adrian Billhart is on deck. The only question is, are they going to make the sub here? Maybe they might wait till the next try. And it looks like they're going to hold things up until the next stoppage in play. Tunbridge turns around, and a huge collision on that far sideline does not go called. And now we will see Adrian Billhart enter the match in place of Landon Johnson, one of the many ex-Ibises in this club. Billhart, he was with Tormenta in 2021 to 2022. He scored 2 goals in Richmond in his homecoming to Statesboro in the Jaeger Cup back in late May. And that included a Billhart ripper to beat Drew Romig. That goal was so lovely. It got to number 2 on SportsCenter. But we know the potential that some of those guys off the bench can provide offensively, and if they can get back to form in a sense with Vignoles and Sierakowski, Billhart, with Terzaghi up top being the primary catalyst with those guys around. The talent is very much there. However, some of the health, consistency, maybe not so much. Nathan Awney. Centers for Vignoles. Vignoles gets tripped down, and that will be a stoppage in play against Tormenta. Mason Tunbridge took down Vignoles. Adrian Billhart already looking to make his impact on this match as he stands over the free kick in the 58th minute in a 1-1 game. Billhart to serve, up and out from Kilwine. Preston Kilwine, such a good job at shooting down some of those plays. But Nathan Awney comes back on it. Makes its way around for Garnett. Sierakowski steps in, goes off of Steedman, centering chance, Terzaghi still alive! And that one comes off of Hassan, who had to step in to block that opportunity from getting crossed in by Terzaghi. Corner for Richmond. Sierakowski, that one took a block and went right for Terzaghi. Had Bilhart all alone inside of the 6 box. However, Hassan, who is guarding Terzaghi again on this corner, continues to be a threat. Back post cleared out by Tormenta. Bilhart on a chase with Vivas. Vivas wants to get past Bilhart. And that is going to be a foul offensively on Sebastian Vivas. Coach Cameron very unhappy about that, but he has to be careful himself as Tormenta's leading man has already been on a yellow off the bench. Suko. Makes his way around for Ryan Sierakowski. Stretch is watching him. With assistance from Spangler. Stretch was in the way, but nonetheless, whistle against Richmond. The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. The Red Army continues to make their impact on this game, showing the support for the kickers. There's another stoppage in play for Richmond in the Tormenta end, as a pair of subs are ready to come on for South Georgia. So it'll be Al-Sadiq Hassan and Mason Tunbridge who will take a squat on the bench for the remainder of the night, as Joshua Ramos and Jackson Curry enter this match. Curry will be up top, and he's had himself a very tumultuous season, considering that he won the Young Player of the Year award in 2023 across the entirety of USL League One, and he's been struggling to just get on the pitch. Only 2 appearances in the last 10 Tormenta matches, but Corey, whenever he's been able to get onto the pitch, has made himself effective and a threat at times, whether it be to set guys up or to get even opportunities in the back of the net, as he has the most goals on this Tormenta side from last year's roster. At least of the guys who still remain on the Tormenta roster from last year. And then the first touch goes for Joshua Ramos, who has started in 4 of the last 7 since the Nick Akoto transfer. He's been really that guy, has Ramos, to be that right back or that wing back overall to provide some of the offense available. And his attempt goes for a yellow card against Richmond. It's Adrian Bilhart who gets the yellow. So you saw there, as we just talked about, how Ramos can affect the play sometimes. His attempt to cut back inside was cut off by Bilhart. Enough for a yellow card a little over an hour into this match. Two-man wall for Richmond. Tormenta with a potential chance to go ahead. Cleared away by Richmond, and they want to start something. Centering feed for Emiliano Terzaghi. 3v3, Nil Vignoles will just send this one into the area for the snag by Romig. Had Terzaghi been a half beat faster on that, we'd be talking about a 2-0 tap-in off the fumble from Romig, but he held on anyways. Coach Cameron continues to look on. He already made the first 2 subs of the match only a few minutes ago, and with Tormenta, Coach Cameron has been there pretty much the entirety of the way through after getting the head coaching role midway through the 2020 season as an interim coach in that brief, condensed season, and has continued to lead this team the entirety of the way through. And he knows how to get the most of guys, especially because of how young a lot of these players are or how raw they are in terms of their development. But he wants to continue getting the most out of them because the results kind of speak for itself. How once we get back to the regular season, expect the Ibises to have an eye for the net. It just hasn't necessarily been able to go in the Jägermeister Cup, but they have been able to claw away with 3 results. However, all of those were draws in penalty shootouts. 0-3-3 in the Jägermeister Cup. Tormenta is still looking for that first win in this competition in regulation. They've done so twice, only in penalties. Once in Fresno versus Fuego, and the other one was over at Legion Memorial against the Independence of Charlotte. Jackson Corey retrieves the feed. He takes a tumble, and it rolls its way quietly for Shello. Terzaghi at the center circle. Maxi Schenfeld off the bench. Sierakowski just retreats back for Garnett. Quick scrap at center. Terzaghi turns it over. Ajmer Spangler has a lane. Niall Watson gets taken down from behind. Schenfeld ties up Watson. And the 31-year-old defender from Chile will get the booking. He's got the most in USL League One, does Maxi Schenfeld, as he had Watson. And honestly, had Schenfeld not fouled Watson, that would have been a one-on-one between Watson and Shello. So there are times where you just kind of have to take your lumps and just accept those yellow cards, and that's exactly what Schenfeld did. As there are subs for both teams. So it'll be Gabriel Rodriguez and Austin Wenner replacing Sebastian Vivas and Niall Watson, as Joao Gomira will also come onto the pitch for Darren Sawatsky, and Zaka Moran is done for the night. So a trio of subs in the 68th minute.
Richmond and South Georgia. Entering the match for South Georgia is number 17, Gabriel Rodriguez, and number 15, Austin Leonard. Leaving the match are number 7, Niall Watson, and number 9, Sebastian Vivas. Entering the match for Richmond is number 8, Joao Gomiro. Leaving the match is number 6, Zaka Moran.
So a short set piece just outside of the area. Gabriel Rodriguez to strike. Rodriguez takes a drive, but goes low corner. Shello read it through. So wait for Gabriel Rodriguez to make his impact felt literally as soon as he gets off of the bench. But it pops up in the air as it's settled down. Rodriguez gets it free. Wenner returns for Ramos, leaves it for Spangler. Spangler has to hold on as he's getting double teamed. Schenfeld will just send that one away, but kept in by Stretch. Stretch for Walker. Wenner. Ajmer Spangler tangled up by Vignoles, and that's another free kick for Tormenta in the Richmond end.
The Three Knocks Uncool Happy Hour featuring $4 non-alcoholic hazy IPA starts at the 70th minute. Visit one of the Three Knocks bars on the complex.
eFootball 2024 is here. Live your team, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. This time, Ajmer Spangler to take the free kick with a two-man wall for Richmond. Spangler for the back post, too high for Dangler. That was especially tough for Tormenta because their typical left-footed set-piece taker just got subbed off in Mason Tunbridge. But Spangler's been effective as well, as he has tied Tunbridge for the team lead in assists with 3. He makes his 5th start in 6 matches for the first team All-ACC midfielder from the University of South Florida. As we just crossed the 70-minute mark in a 1-1 game. The last 2 Jägermeister Cup matches for South Georgia Tormenta have ended 1-1. And with Richmond, they want to remove the stench of this 4-game losing drought. They've been outscored 10-3 in that stretch as well, but they have something to say about that. It's Adrian Billhart working on Corey. Centers up in front, and that one is kept by Romeg. Dangler a little slow to get up as well, but Romeg held on strong. Adrian Billhart, he's a threat every time he plays Tormenta, as Simon Fitch was allowed to come in on the follow-up. And Fitch, he's done such a good job getting things through. He led the team in assists last year, did Fitch. It was a Richmond Academy product. He's really been one of the models of this develop from within concept that Richmond primarily emphasizes in terms of building their team, and he's been an example of that with the team the last 3 seasons, 73 matches played in USL League One, as Jake Dangler is slow to get up on this night sky in Richmond. Are you ready to take a shot at glory? Enter the USL Jägermeister Cup sweepstakes for a chance to win one of 12 Jägermeister single bottle tap machines and a shot at the grand prize package, which features a Jägermeister single bottle tap machine, 2 team jerseys, 4 VIP tickets to a match, and $250 to host a USL Jägermeister Cup party. Enter today by scanning the QR code. Sweepstakes ends August 13th. Must be 21 and older to enter. So Jake Dangler will be escorted to the sideline after taking some contact on that last Fitch follow-up. But the dead ball for Drew Romig. And Coach Cameron has used 4 of his potential 5 subs. And Coach Sawatsky's got nothing left to give, so Darren Sawatsky is riding with his current 11 for the remainder of the match. Tormenta might tweak something with the remaining 18 minutes plus stoppage. Wenner contested with Schoenfeld, goes against Austin Wenner. Sierakowski couldn't settle, stretches, boots that one well deep into the bleachers to just slow things down a little bit. As that takes a very gracious bounce down the tarp. They're gonna need some assistance to get that one, but Maxi Schoenfeld will take this throw in for Richmond deep in the Tormenta end of things. 1 goal apiece. Niall Watson in the 6th, and Jason Suko with the assist from Emiliano Terzaghi in the 24th. That was straight to the goal line, out of play. Goal kick, Romig. 57% of this game's possession has gone to Tormenta, with a whopping 16 shots being taken in this game. 10 of them have gone the kicker's way. However, the shots on net is a 1-shot advantage on target in favor of the visitors. Steedman taken down, and he will earn his team another chance to continue advancing this ball upfield. Richmond will enjoy this Jägermeister Cup game at home before going another back-to-back on the road. As it's sent into the area, held on, winner! He's wide. As that pass for Callum Stretch, and the nice touch by Gabriel Rodriguez to lay it off for Wenner. Had Wenner got that one to go, that would have been his 2nd goal of the season.
Your attention, please. Substitution in the
As Tavio Dalmeida will come in to substitute off for Preston Kilwine. And this is the final substitution for Ian Cameron. So both Coach Cameron and Sawatsky, they're riding with these 11 for the remainder of the match. But it will be Nil Vigneaults to take the set piece outside of the area off of a Tormenta foul. It is Joao Gomiro to stand over this free kick opportunity for the kickers. As Nil Vigneault stands on the near side of the 18. Gomiro takes it, but off the wall, over, out, corner, kick, Richmond. Number 7 for the game, 4 for the half. The Red Army roaring for Richmond to take the lead in a 1-1 game. 77 minutes. Adrian Billhart to in-swing. Billhart punched by Romig, still up. Down, loose, Ani blocked off the line. And Dalmeida holds on. Romig was way out of the net, so some of the guys in white had to cover, and they did so excellently to keep this game tied at 1. Coach Sawatsky continuing to bark out orders as his Richmond side try to make their way back into this Jägermeister Cup game and tournament. It'll be a very tough uphill climb for them, as they've only scored 7 goals in this tournament, but luckily for them, so has Tormenta. 8 if you include the 2 goals today. Sierakowski tries to streak on, but Romig tries to calm things down for a bit. Davio Dalmeida. Tries to recover the ball as he just takes a yank on Schenfeld, and it will provide a quick go. Vignoles. Schenfeld. Dalmeida was in the way, but Vignoles to settle. Terzaghi turns around, as does Romig, turns that one out, but a corner comes for Richmond. That was a nice block there from Tavio Dalmeida. However, it just falls graciously for Terzaghi, and he has continued to work all around the box, has Terzaghi. But it's sent into the area again, cleared out by Tormenta. Back up top it goes, held off by Schenfeld. Billhart to clip, Dangler heads it out. As we saw, to set up that corner opportunity in the first place was off the foot of Emiliano Terzaghi. He's got a team lead, 3 shot attempts, but only 1 has been within frame. He's back on it once again to leave it for Gomiero. That one was stopped. Gabriel Rodriguez just plays it back, and Steedman gets shit from behind. Now potential 2-on-1 for Richmond. Gomiero shoots, and that's held off by Romig. Run and gun we go in the final 10 minutes of Tormenta and Richmond. They're tied at 1. A goal hasn't been scored since Justin Suko did so in the 24th minute. Tormenta hasn't gotten back behind Ryan Shallow since the 6th minute off of Niall Watson's foot. Ajmer Spangler. Walker. Ramos back to Walker. Both teams have been successful in the penalty shootout, should it go to that. Richmond beat Greenville at Furman and Charlotte at Legion Memorial. Tormenta has beaten Central Valley in Fresno and Charlotte in Charlotte. Their only loss in the Jägermeister Cup match was their opener against Charlotte Independent. They took the loss back in Statesboro. Drive for Rodriguez. He's all alone. Rodriguez is held off. Ryan Shallow with the save. Intention for Ryan Sierakowski. It was a nice intent there by Ryan Shallow, but Sierakowski just a little bit short on that as Jackson Corey has to run all the way back. Dalmeida. He just leaves it for Dangler. Richmond have this one game at City Stadium before they go on the road. They have to go to Furman to play the Triumph and over to Papillion to play against the Owls of Omaha. That's going to be a challenge for Richmond, to say the least, especially because they want to get back in the regular season race. They are only about 2 spots out of the playoff race. And to go up against the 2 teams tied for 2nd in the League One regular season table in their venues, that'll overly make things tougher for Richmond. But they have to guard up against Ajmer Spangler, who gets it back. Spangler goes up ahead, wants to center for winner, gets deflected just wide. A block in front by a man in red. Goes for a corner for the Ibises. And Rodriguez and Spangler just go back and forth. You had 2 bodies up in front between Garnett and Schenfeld to just get that one away from Ryan Shallow. However, it is the 3rd corner for Tormenta, and they have numerous times been able to get those late stoppage time goals. Take a look at Callum Stretch, who's at the top of the 18 at the base of the semicircle. Jake Dangler is currently talking to the officials. He's gotten some goals off of corners. However, their big corner threat, Sebastian Vivas, sits on the bench. That might be the only thing going forward here for Richmond on this corner. As Steedman to send it in. Steedman for the back post. Dangler Up in the air, Terzaghi takes a tumble from Corey. And that Corey shove in the back from Terzaghi will be enough to draw a whistle. Justin Suko, he scored the lone goal for Richmond. He's struggling to get on his own 2 feet. We've mentioned how Suko has had his issues staying on the pitch. How in 20 matches, he's only made his way in 10. After going a career high in matches played and minutes in last year's go-around with the Richmond Kickers. There's no quit in the Red Army, but the guys in red have to be up to the task as well. Spangler weaves through a couple, fights off defenders, and the whistle will go in favor of Ajmer Spangler, who has about 5 minutes to play to potentially end it for Tormenta, or they'll go to penalties for the 4th time in the Jägermeister Cup of 7 matches. Tormenta looking for their 5th win of the season. They've only got 2 in the Jägermeister Cup, but both of them have come on penalty kicks. They have yet to win in regulation in the Jägermeister Cup, are the Ibises. But they've got about 4.5 minutes plus stoppage to potentially do such a thing. However, that feed overhead for Steedman does not make life easier for Coach Cameron's side. Tormenta are going to have some opportunities to climb back into the playoff race once they get back to Statesboro, as they have back-to-back regular season matches back at Tormenta Stadium. And they have some big ones coming up with Northern Colorado coming to Statesboro. That's a chance for a wild card potential opponent, or rather one of those bottom 3 opponents on the playoff race as of now in the regular season, to potentially take charge for Tormenta. And then they've also got one Knoxville at home as well. Stingy defensively, but can their league-leading regular season offense break through the league-leading regular season defense of one Knox and Mark McKeever 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now, pardon. Maxi Schenfeld works on Steedman, and the cross is too much. (1-1) here in Richmond. Niall Watson in the 6th, Justin Suko in the 24th. 2.5 minutes plus stoppage to go. If we stay tied after 90, we go straight to penalties. Drew Romick has had to come up big, especially because of the absence of Ford Parker. And with Tormenta, that is something that they can feel comfortable with, that despite Parker being out due to injury, they have a guy who Coach Cameron has dubbed in the past as a 1A, 1B, not a true starter backup type of deal, because both Romig and Parker had that ability to be a leading man, and because of just team circumstances, they've been forced into this position to start Drew Romig so many times consecutively, and he has given them a vote of confidence as well, as Romig has come up in many circumstances, including helping Tormenta get to the 4th round of the US Open Cup. Retreats back for Shello, chips it up and out. Tormenta throw. A minute plus stoppage in the second half. Steedman plays it back. Tavio Dalmeida couldn't quite get it to hit. As it's a potential 4-on-2 here for Richmond. Ryan Sierakowski's got Terzag in the middle. Dangler pursues Sierakowski, and Dangler gets the body in front to force a corner for Richmond. Number 9 on the night for the Kickers. Richmond out shooting Tormenta 14-8. However, possession is about 60% in Tormenta's favor. Possessed with a purpose was the key to the game for Richmond. Well, they've done so far. But on their 9th corner, can they break through in the 90th minute? We've got 4 more. Vignoles, back post cleared by Dangler. Suko wraps back around as he wants to go, but Dangler's there again. Double teamed was Spangler from Ani and Gomiero. Drew Romig will take this stoppage away. He's had to come up with 4 saves so far today. Wenner controls, boxes out, off of Sierakowski last, so it's a Tormenta throw. Dalmeida down the line for Wenner. Corey cuts inside. Jackson Corey's got a lane. Gabriel Rodriguez stopped by Shello. Just past 91.5 minutes of a potential 4. We've seen some late game spectacular goals from both of these two sides. Some stoppage time goals for Richmond against Knoxville. With Tormenta, you can count them. There's so many of them. But that doesn't count for anything if Drew Romig doesn't make a stop like that. With now Watson scoring the first goal of the game and Justin Suko to follow, it was something that was similar to their Spokane game for Tormenta, just getting those first goals out there and letting the other team claw back into this. That's essentially what happened today again, but Aaron Walker feeds it away for Ramos, and Ramos advances. Ramos gets past the wall of red. And Walker will just let this one fly back. Stretch to take that center back spot with Dangler, but he has to backpedal as Richmond want to try something again in the final minute of regulation time. Adrian Billhart works on Stretch. Walker to support. And Dangler just lets the leg out. Ajmir Spangler has some space. Spangler is getting grasped at by Ani, and that will be a stoppage. Ani on Spangler. Yellow card for Nathan Ani. I wouldn't expect anything else, frankly, as that was just the intentional jersey tug from Ani. And Ajmer Spangler, he's done a good job this season when he has been healthy and has been playing, of being able to set guys up, especially in space and vertically. Those are kind of the two keys there. If you can get Spangler in space with a potential vertical feed, it will make things a lot easier. But with the injury to Ajmer Spangler, that's it for regulation. We're going to penalties. As Richmond and Tormenta, they're stuck at 1 after 90 minutes of play. PKs will decide the spare point. 1 point in the standings apiece. But who gets the second? We'll find out in the penalty shootout, where Richmond has won both of their PK tries, while Tormenta have gone 2 for 1. How do we get to this 1-1 game after 90 in the first place? Well, it's been an action-packed game between the Kickers and Tormenta as we go through our goals that got us here in the 6th minute. It was just that little poke over, that unintentional bounce started things off with Mason Tunbridge. He actually wanted Sebastian Vivas on this play, but a gracious bounce off a deflection of Griffin Garnett allowed Niall Watson to just hit that one. You see the bounce there, it fell beautifully for Niall Watson. He just hit it right on the volley. But 24 minutes into this match, Emiliano Terzaghi, we know him as a goal scorer. You might not have known he can set guys up too. Justin Suko in the top of the area to beat Drew Romig. That tied up this game at 1, and those were the only 2 goals of this match. Off of a grand total of 10 shots on net, Ryan Shello and Drew Romig have both stopped 4 of those 5, and they'll probably have to come up with at least 1 more to walk away with the spare point in this PK shootout, as the officials, the coaches, and the players sort out the shooting order and the direction of the kick. It appears that Richmond and Tormenta will be shooting from, it appears they'll be shooting from the left side, but we'll find out as they continue to move along. We've talked about how Richmond has had struggles to score goals. They've had the fewest goals in the Jägermeister Cup. They've only scored 6 up to this point. Tormenta, they've scored the 4th fewest goals in the Jägermeister Cup. They've only managed to get 8. And with Richmond this season, they have yet to win in regulation when scoring first. That trend continues. 0-11-5 when conceding the first goal for the Richmond Kickers. That trend continues to go on as Jake Dangler and Nil Vignoles, they flip the coin to determine which team will shoot first in which direction. As Vignoles makes his way back with his team's huddle at the center circle. Tormenta, they're back in their own end. And with these two sides, they know that one domino can be the one to set off the chain, considering how they both have to play some stingy opponents in the return to regular season play next week. With Richmond, they have the Triumph in Furman, and with Tormenta, they get to host the Northern Colorado Hailstorm. Shello and Romig on the left end of things, just in front of the Red Army. Ryan Shello, he got the PK win versus the Greenville Triumph in Greenville back in late April. Drew Romig has been in net for each of their last 2 penalty kick shootouts against Charlotte and Central Valley. Gabriel Rodriguez to start things off first. Rodriguez got stopped by Pack only about a couple weeks ago. How does he do against Shello? Rodriguez posting in. Rodriguez gets this party started with the first goal of the PKs. And Gabriel Rodriguez, a bit of a flair for the dramatic as he went posting in. Ryan Shello was right there. But Tormenta takes the first goal of this PK shootout with nil Vignoles to follow. Vignoles has been close to perfect this season. If you include his regular season attempts and his Jägermeister Cup attempts, Nil Vignoles is 2 for 3 this season. Nil Vignoles on Drew Romig. Vignoles off the bar and in. Bar down goal. 1-1 after 1. Two dinks and in. Vignoles and Rodriguez. Rodriguez went side post and in. Vignoles went bar down to start things off at 1-1. And Austin Wenner will step up to the plate. Austin Wenner, he scored his first goal against Greenville, against Ryan Shallow. Wenner gets 2 for Tormenta. Wenner made his pro debut in Richmond back in May, and he comes back a second time to get the second PK goal for Tormenta. Drew Romig will have to take on Simon Fitch, who has not scored in regulation, but he has scored twice in PKs in the Jägermeister Cup. Fitch on Romig. Fitch scores. 2-2. Just don't overthink it. Just get the ball through and smash it home. And things have worked out perfectly for both teams so far to start off the PKs. Jake Dangler as the third shooter for Tormenta. Jake Dangler, the 25-year-old from Baltimore. He comes up on Shello and scores. Connor Dangler doesn't mess around. He sets up Drew Romig with a 3-2 advantage at the top of the third, and the captain comes up clutch. Both Shello and Dangler went to Shello's left. However, Dangler was able to get it past, and Drew Romig takes on the third shooter. And who else for Richmond but the 3-time MVP, 3-time Golden Boot, Emiliano Terzaghi, to level things for the Kickers. Terzaghi misses. 40-plus goals in 4 seasons, could not get that one through. Terzaghi's denied. Terzaghi just tries to go, and he just skied it. Nothing else to say about that. Terzaghi skied it. And Terzaghi was 12 for 13 in his League One career on the PK. But now Aaron Walker, the most recent signee for Ian Cameron, he won the USL League One Championship with the Greenville Triumph. He has championship pedigree within him, Walker. Does he do it again? For the lead. Easy. Easy for Walker. Walks right in. And Aaron Walker just does not mess around. He has scored 3+ goals in the last 3 years with Greenville. Each of the last 3 years with Greenville. And if Romig gets a stop, or if Joao Gomero does not hit, this game is over. Gomero to extend. Romig to end it. Gomero to extend it. Joao Gomero keeps this shootout going. Romig had a chance to end it, went right, as did Gomero. And Ryan Shello, all eyes on him. The chance come from the Red Army for Ryan Shello. He's got Jackson Corey on the dock. Corey missed the net entirely in Central Valley. Ryan Shello to snap a 4-game losing streak for Richmond and himself. Corey, stopped by Shello. Oh for 2 for Jackson Corey. And Ryan Shello stops him cold. A nice read for Ryan Shello as that went to his right. And Drew Romig has to go up against the ex-Ibis, Adrian Billhart. Billhart scored 2 against Tormenta back in May. Does he get 1 here today? Romig to end it. Billhart evens it up at 4. We're going to sudden death shootout. Billhart just drilled that one high above that top right corner. That was the one to break the Camels back in May. Got him on Sports Center and keeps this shootout going. Now we go 1 for 1. Tavio Dalmeida in his first season in League One. The 23-year-old from the Ivory Coast has yet to score a goal for Ian Cameron. Does he get 1 here? Dalmeida with a chip on his first PK attempt. And now Romig has to stare into the red abyss. Tavio Dalmeida, good thing he's wearing his specs because that one was deadlocked out the center. Drew Romig stares to the Red Sea where Justin Suko tied the game in the 24th. Does he do so again in the 6th round of PKs? Justin Suko on Drew Romig. We're tied again. Suko's done it twice. He did it in the 24th. He does it in PK round 6. Justin Suko. Both guys went to Suko's left. However, Romig went low, Suko went high. Daniel Steedman continues the call for Coach Cameron. He's been embracing the challenge and he's been adapting faster than Coach Cameron anticipated. Does that continue in the shootout? Steedman stopped by Shello! Ryan Shello holds it off. Daniel Steedman couldn't get it through. Both guys went to that bottom right corner. And now the world of Richmond stares at Ryan Sierakowski 3 days after turning 26 to give Richmond their first win in 5 games. Ryan Sierakowski comes up and wins it. Sierakowski snaps the 4-game losing streak for Richmond. And Tormenta come back home with no wins in their last 3. Sierakowski just holds and beats Romig clean. And Ryan Sierakowski gets it done. He spent the last 2 seasons with Tormenta, beats Tormenta on the penalties. As we are done in regulation time after 90 minutes plus 1-1 and a penalty decider in favor of the home side Richmond Kickers.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of the many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about, You're being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
Health. Suddenly that word seems more important these days, as it's consumed all aspects of our lives and made our universes feel smaller than ever. But at Bon Secours, your health has always been our top priority, and we're staying as committed as always to personalizing the right care for you. Because whether here or from home, we believe your health care should always revolve around you. Bon Secours, primary care for the universe of you. Visit bonsecours.com/primary care to connect with the provider today.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot of glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. Our man of the match, presented by Keeter, is Justin Suko. He scored the equalizer to even get us to the penalty shootout in the first place. And that game-tying goal in the 24th minute doesn't just provide Suko with our man of the match, brought to you by Seeker, but also our play of the match, brought to you by Courtyard Marriott. Justin Suko, once again, the game-tying goal. That was pretty much all she wrote. Get that one off a beautiful feed from Emiliano Terzaghi. Terzaghi typically the one to set things up, but when it's all said and done, it is going to be a assist for Terzaghi as we take a look at the full-time highlights of this Jägermeister Cup match. Things got started off in the 6th minute as these highlights are brought to you by First Tee. It was Mason Tunbridge who had the idea to go to Vivas, but it just fell graciously for Niall Watson, who smashes that one in off of a volley. Tunbridge would allow volley off of that follow-up to get his 4th goal of the season. And in the 24th minute, well, it was our play of the match. What else is there more to say about it? Justin Suko, 3rd goal as a kicker, 5th in League One, 1st in 2024, and he was the reason why we got to penalties in the first place. Just shy of the hour mark, it was Ryan Sierakowski. The gracious deflection off of a block fell for Emiliano Terzaghi, and off of that deflection from Steedman, if there's anyone that ball should not fall to, it's number 32 in red. But only about 15 minutes after that, Stretch would send that one in. A nice little touch here from Rodriguez gave Wenner a drive, but he was not able to convert it as it went wide. As it fell back, Austin Wenner was looking for his 2nd goal of the season. And with 10 minutes to go in regulation, Maxi Schenfeld had that one blocked off of Terzaghi. And once again, another gracious block for Emiliano Terzaghi for it to land just in front of him. And Terzaghi got stopped by Romig again. However, that would be it in regulation time, as things would end in PKs. 90 minutes of play was not enough. We needed the penalty shootout. The initial 5 frames of the penalty shootout wasn't enough. We had to go to sudden death. 1-1 after 90, 6-5 after the penalty shootout in favor of the Richmond Kickers. And that has been an eventful game for us here at City Stadium. For all of us and our entire ESPN Plus broadcast crew, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.